So we live now. Share it on your page.
No, go to.
Once it go to Worldwide Flavor.
This is Worldwide Flavor Network. Coast to coast and worldwide.
The views, information, or opinions expressed on the broadcast of Worldwide Flavor Network are solely those of the individuals involved and does not represent those of Worldwide Flavor Network and Live365.com. Worldwide Flavor Network is not responsible and does not verify for accuracy of the information contained on any live or recorded broadcast available for listening on the site.
Hey, you guys, this is Anika from Anika Tells All.
Tune in every Thursday from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Worldwide Flavor Network. See you then.
It's your girl, A. Michelle. Join us on Sundays from 10 until 12 noon for the Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show on Worldwide Flavor Network. This show is being sponsored by Worldwide Flavor Network. If you are looking to have your own radio show, come and join us here on WWFN Online Radio. Contact us via our website, www.worldwideflavornetwork.com.
Here we are, just you and I, in the darkness of the night. I can tell you wanna see something more than the moonlight. Bitter better, I feel your heart. It's anticipating love. Oh. Introduction of our first time. Baby, all of me is yours. There's no doubt I'm into you. Where your body turns me on. Oh, oh. I can tell you feel it too. As I rock you in my arms. Bitter better, I feel your heart. It's anticipating love. Introduction to our first time.
Hey, you guys, welcome to Anika Tells All. I'm here with my co-host.
Hey. This is Otis, aka the Co-Otis. I just thought of that. Don't judge me.
And tonight we're going to be talking about different food in the community and better judgments of what to get and what not to get.
Yeah, so I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts called Cannon's Class. Nick Cannon. Shout out to Nick Cannon. And in the podcast, he was talking about how the food industry targets the poor communities, and they target African American and Latinos in those poor communities. And in it, they were talking about how like this University of Connecticut study back in 2015 actually identified the demographic that they target and how they target poor people, mainly African American and Latinos, to sell the most unhealthy things to. And I thought that was one of the most interesting things. Like we never really think about our health choices when we're in certain places. And when you go to the corner stores, one, in poor communities, you find a lot of McDonald's, you find a lot of fast food spots. But how often in a poor community would you find a Whole Foods? You know what I mean? And it's so interesting. Like, have you ever seen in a poor community a Whole Foods or something that really promotes healthy and good eating.
No, never.
I don't, and you know what? I've traveled. I've been to other states. I've been to good and bad communities and a lot of other places in other countries, and like I never really seen a Whole Foods or a healthy promotion, like a store that promotes healthy eating in poor places. The African American and the Latino communities have the highest rates of heart disease, heart attacks, and it can be attributed to the campaigns that are being ran to cater junk food, sodas,
Don't forget diabetes.
diabetes too. That's right. So like what do you think about that study?
Are you asking me what I think about as far as it being right, or you asking me what is my opinion about it?
Right. Like what is your opinion on that that surfacing that they are targeting poor communities and also what are some things that you see?
Well, I think that they're gonna hit the black community, and they're gonna hit the different race community. Of course, not the white as much as us, because if you notice, they make chips way lesser than out in the county,
Mm-hmm.
so they make it
Mm-hmm.
easier for us to buy,
Right.
and it's a better, like people, they like we tired when we come home from
Mm-hmm.
work. Nobody don't feel like cooking no more.
Yeah.
Nobody don't want to
Yeah.
cook no chicken and homemade meals or anything like that. They just say, okay,
Yeah.
let's go to McDonald's or let's go
Mm-hmm.
to Popeyes.
Yep.
I'll get y'all a couple of bags of chips. So after y'all eat, y'all can have the snacks for chips, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And they just feel like it's an easier way to hit us because, like they say, that we're not gonna do no more than we already done all day, work and everything else.
Right. Right. And I remember like back in the day, we had the grandmothers, we had moms, we even had dads who would like try to come in and contribute, cook, do what they could. And I remember that growing up. And now it's like even with our children, we just feed them. Now, there's an exception, but like with a lot of parents, especially single parents, we don't really concentrate on our children's nutrition sometimes like we should. And I know those days, just like you said, I'm tired. I don't feel like it. Oh, we going to McDonald's. What do you want, McDonald's or Burger King tonight? And that is something that I even am guilty of because I just don't have something that we saw growing up, and that's someone preparing. Like I'm not that person. I'm not that cook. I can cook, but I'm just after a long day, I don't. You got to thaw something out, and it can be difficult sometimes. And then afterward, you got to clean up after yourself, make sure the children go to bed, and it's a task. It's a task in itself.
It's a whole nother job.
Yeah, it is. It is. Now I remember like sometimes when I would try to get it done, I'd end up going to sleep around 11, 12 o'clock, tired, and it's just a sacrifice sometimes. Um, Now, are you kind of guilty of that yourself sometimes?
No, of course.
Yeah. Like what?
I'm the type of
Mhm.
person, I work like 100 something hours a week, so
Yeah.
maybe more than that. I ain't gonna go all in, but the little bit of time I do get home, I don't want to cook nothing. I'm tired. I'm worn down. I just don't have the energy.
Right.
I'm quick to say, all right, y'all, here, go to 20 hours. Just take it, go. Order
Mhm.
pizza. Let me know when I
Right.
get here or something.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. And like on the flip side, I thought about us as people. I thought about us as like poor people, right? Not poor, but middle class or below, and how we're getting into exercising. And one thing in a lot of these communities, you also don't see exercise being a pivotal thing. Like we walk less. I remember back in the day, We walked wherever. Growing up, like we walked. I remember one time, like you and I, like as kids, we walked a really, really long distance one
We
time.
walked all the way to Gerson Middle
Oh
School.
my goodness, that was a long walk, and like that's just something that you don't see nowadays as well. So not only are we not eating properly based on this campaign, but we're not countering it by exercising and really strengthening our bodies from this improper eating. Um, do you can like do you have anything you may want to chime in on concerning?
Just far as trying to get our weight better under health and watching what we eat,
Hmm.
because now, like, school about to start and a lot of kids get
Hmm.
teased for that,
Hmm.
being overweight, being obese, or you get, your stomach poked out more than theirs. And the
Hmm.
little skinny kids, they just, trying to find something to pick at because
Yeah.
they're not happy with themselves because they're really small. So why not pick at the
Hmm.
child that come in that weigh 50 more pounds than you?
Hmm.
So just I think we just all need to do a better job in
Hmm.
picking up what to eat and what's a better variety
Right.
for our kids. Right now, I supposed to be on the diet. I only lost like 10 pounds, but
That's good.
it's
That's
a start.
progress. Exactly. Keep keep going. That is that. Yeah. That is a really good thing. So
And but at
yeah.
the same time, you talk to somebody that used to drink a 2 liter soda all night. So
Mm, well, water. Water is a good, and this is something that I was telling one of my friends. They were asking about dietary things, and I was like, one of the best things to do, especially when you're eating at night, drink a cup of water. Drink at least 8 ounces of water right before you eat.
is it true you don't supposed to eat past 7?
Yeah, that
That's
and
true.
because you don't want it to. Basically, you want to be able to burn it off.
Hmm.
So if I'm eating at 10 and I'm going to sleep at 11, my body is right. Unless you eat something water based, salad or something like that, like your body will, it will affect your body and not in a good way. Yeah, no salad dressing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Right. So you want to eat right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Drink water all day. Mm-hmm.
Lemon juice.
Lemon. And so yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the thing about lemon is it adds it right, and it increases the pH level of the water. So lemon is really good in water.
You don't
I
see my
mean,
face, right?
just avoiding the sodas, avoiding like the real sugary juices, and just getting back to the basic healthy stuff. In my refrigerator, I have like this big container of lemon water, and every now and again I'll throw like watermelon in it or cucumber or something like really healthy to like kind of counter the taste, but also that would help me physically as well because all of that is good for you, and that's something that we don't really we don't really talk to each other about. In a lot of the our communities, we don't talk about health. All we say is, "I got to lose weight," but we don't really go into let's go for a walk together. We don't go into, hey, let's hit the gym. I had a good buddy, my buddy Corey. Shout out to Corey. And at one point, we used to hit the gym heavy. We used to go to the gym all the time, and it was after work. Both of us tired from like 9 to 10 or like 9 to 10:30. We at the gym, and it really made a difference, and it actually was a good bonding experience. And so sometimes even in certain communities where this is being perpetuated, where we are being advertised to the heaviest, we can still have countermeasures like exercise and bond around exercise. There are people who in those communities who still have like exercise groups, and you can still go and participate, and it's not as advertised, but it's still something, and it helps. Or I seen Zumba. I've seen a lot of that online. A lot of women doing Zumba, a lot of women doing other things, or the I forgot what you call it, the hip hop dance classes. You
Hold
ever
up.
saw
You
those?
said Zumba?
Zumba.
Is that the thing where you riding on the bike all fast and everything?
No, that's cycling.
Oh,
Yeah, now cycling.
okay.
I've gone to cycling. That kicks my butt. I remember getting out of basic training, and mind you, that's like when I'm at my most, like my physical peak in cycling was. It kicked my butt. That was a straight like mental grind, but it was a good thing. It was a good thing. So in addition to that, uh, I'd also started to see the rise of farming in urban areas. So in the Park Heights community, I remember seeing they had an initiative where they teach you agriculture.
Mhm.
And I can't remember the name of the group that did it, but in a lot of urban communities now, you can go somewhere and you can learn agriculture. You can learn how to do it yourself.
Well, I found out you're right. I found out I sent my daughter to my youngest daughter Harlem Park.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a resource center there.
Yep.
You know, they keep them till late as you want, as long as it's not past 9.
Mm-hmm.
And they teach them many different things.
Yeah.
Like one is planting.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was explaining to me, like, we have our own dirt and everything, and we're teaching the kids how to plant, we're teaching the kids how to
Nice.
do this, we're teaching them
Nice.
how to do that. So he said, so they could give back to their community. He said, oh, my bad, excuse me, your community.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it was a different experience that now we going to learn about farming. Like,
Right.
who learned about farming when we was kids?
We ain't know nothing
About
about
farming.
farming. Shoot. Knew about catching the MTA and train and running from bullets. That's what we learned as kids. But I mean that's just such a beautiful door for them to walk through. Especially when she learns that and she retains it. And one thing about being in that type of atmosphere is that you have to give it to someone else. So you have to take that knowledge and show someone else, and they'll show someone else. And so I think eventually in poor communities, if that cycle continues, then eventually everybody's going to learn how to do it.
Right.
And that's one thing. Like I heard in a song uh, from the late great Nipsey Hussle, where he was talking about just learning knowledge, acquiring knowledge, and giving it to everyone that you know needs it. And I think that that would be a very, very pivotal thing for us to learn how to do it and just teach the masses. All right, this big food company, they're throwing billions of dollars at you being unhealthy. They're throwing billions of dollars at you getting diabetes and you having these other terrible, terrible issues. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna find a cheaper alternative. You're gonna learn how to grow your own food. It's gonna be healthier for you. And then you're gonna teach it to someone else. You're gonna when you eat that food, it's gonna help your body in ways that unhealthy stuff doesn't.
You know what I used to think?
Mm-hmm.
I used to think when they did that, like I said, our chips and sodas and everything is cheap in the cities and the county.
Right.
And that's just making a faster way to have the black community buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to think it was like a government thing. Like they was just out to hurry up and let them eat chips and soda, and
Mm-hmm.
so they can have that issue or diabetes or whatever. Because why is it not the same price out in the county?
Mm.
Like if people really sit there and look, like you go into the
Mm-hmm.
gas station, because I work out in the county, go into the gas station, it's a bag of chips about that small, $1.
Mm-hmm.
You go out back in the city,
Mm-hmm.
it's a bag of chips, that same
Same
size,
size.
50 cents.
Yep. Yep.
So it's like
No tax. It ain't no tax on it. You like 50 even? Okay.
you get the 5-cent gums, you get this, you
Mhm.
get that, but you can't get that out in the county. I
No,
like,
you can't.
does anybody wonder
Yeah,
why?
it's different. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And I came across another, and it's interesting that you say I thought it was the government. So I came across this other study, and I can't remember if it was Harvard or Yale. It was an Ivy League study. And the question was, why are African Americans so prone to these diseases like heart attack, like not heart attack, but having heart attacks, diabetes, high blood pressure? And another thing they found, they looked at foods, the quality of foods in these urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
And they found that certain things like the milk was being shipped over in the urban areas from places where the cows who they pumped the milk from were grazing and eating polluted vegetation, where like things were shipped milk was shipped over from Russia or like close to Chernobyl, and cows were like eating toxic vegetation.
Mm.
And they compared how the milk and like dairy in urban areas were affecting people in those areas. And they looked at blacks and they were like, well, we noticed that blacks in Africa, Africans, they can be big like blacks in America and not have all of these issues. And why? And they found that the quality of the food in a lot of urban areas, especially black and Latino areas, the quality of the foods there are like much worse than like, let's say, an area where you have a Whole Foods, an area where you have like a Wise Market or something like that. And that's another, and I may get shot for that, but like that's another thing because we don't even know the quality of our foods in certain areas. So when I go shopping, I'm not going shopping in the hood. When I go shopping, I'm going shopping in like a Owens Mills area because I know that quality is there, and I'll pay top dollar for that. But I'll know like it's no issue with my water. It's no issue with how healthy this milk is because all we know is all right. I'm buying milk, and we assume that okay, this milk I'm buying in this urban area is the same quality of milk that I'm buying in this uh, upper middle class or this upper class area, and it's so different, and we don't know. And the FDA, kind of the Food and Drug Administration, they kind of keep that from us. And there are other entities, in my opinion, there are other entities that keep that from us as well. And I really think that it's a conspiracy against poor people. I'm not even going to say black and white, but I'm going to just say poor people. Because nowadays, rich people, like we see the divide. And rich people, we see the divide with even middle class people now. Because at one point, if you think like 20 years ago, the middle class had a different level of living, a different standard of living compared to what they how they are now. It still looks the same on the outside, but on the inside, the infrastructure of the middle class is so much different than what it was a while ago.
Mm.
And so, like, it's now about rich or poor. And when it comes to resources, certain middle class areas are treated as poor. And it's like us against the rich now, us against the 1%. And I truly believe the government plays a part in that. And we see it all the time. Some things we can put a word or two behind, some things we don't even understand yet. Some things we being experimented on, especially in urban areas, and it's been proven. We have a history of being experimented on by our government in urban areas. Look at the Tuskegee experiment. Look at what they did in Flint. Don't think that was. I mean, how did that how did that get in the water, and for how long has it been? That they still have water that's messed up in Flint. Like we all gave bottled water at one point when we found out, but like they still suffering there. They did something in Chicago to the people, even here with the lead. Oh, there was a documentary that came out about the lead and how the lead paint for back in the day.
Yeah.
So it was a documentary with Michael T. Williams, the guy that played Omar from The Wire.
Okay.
And in the documentary, he explored lead paint and how it affected the people of Baltimore. And come to find out, the lead paint, like the rolled up paint that's coming off the old homes and the old abandoned homes,
Right.
that paint falls on the ground. What happens? It then contaminates the ground.
The paint contaminates the
The
ground.
lead paint contaminates the ground, and we don't know that. And
Oh.
so what he did was he took like this lead detector, and he like took it through like the inside of the home. Then they stepped back on the outside of the home, and you could still detect lead. And then he stepped back even more to like the curb. And while they were walking from the house to the curb, they were detecting it on the ground and picking up levels of lead in the inner cities. There's so many cases of lead paint that's surfaced, but then there's so many more that hasn't. Our generation, we think, oh, such and such crazy, but nah, like this person has lead, and it's making them act a certain way. In the documentary, they tried to meet up with Ben Carson, and Ben Carson refused to talk to them. They brought I don't know, I can't remember. It was Cousin Jeff. You remember Cousin Jeff, the BT personality?
No.
I think he grabbed Cousin Jeff and some other people, and they went to go talk to Ben Carson about the lead issue in Baltimore, because the government has been sweeping it under the rug for years. All of these abandoned homes, and when the lead will come out, the lead will go in the air. You got kids breathing it in. You got people breathing it in.
So that's why these kids out here acting crazy.
That's why people are acting crazy. That's why
Oh.
Baltimore is so violent,
Whoa.
especially in the inner cities, because the inner cities have so many issues with lead. And now, like when we turn our backs on those houses and become dilapidated, all that dried up paint that's like peeled up and all of that falls off, goes outside, affects us. How much of that paint is now in the sewer affecting our water? We don't think about that, but it affects us, and they know it. The government knows this. In this documentary, he ended up going to Ben Carson's office trying to meet with him
Mm-hmm.
so that he could do something with the abandoned homes. And on several occasions, they refused to see him. Mind you, like, this guy's a star. They refusing to see him. He's coming with political figures. He's coming with like social figures. Like, they are refusing to see him and his group. And so at the end, after like kicking him out of the building a couple of times, he finally met with, it wasn't Ben Carson, but it was a representative from the office. And they ended up like pretty much giving to him the screw all of you, we don't care.
Oof.
Like, we wonder why Baltimore is so violent, but we don't understand how lead paint, has affected the community, especially in the inner cities. And we throw these people in cages instead of helping them. Look at the opioid crisis. Like, and I know I'm going off subject, but look at this opioid crisis. Because I've really been wanting to say this. Back in the 80s, they used to throw people in cages for a lot of that stuff that you see now. Now they get in treatment. Now they're calling it a crisis. Now they're trouble. Back then in the 80s, we were criminals. The people were criminals who dealt with certain issues that you see during the opioid crisis. People are medicating, people been medicating, people been self-medicating, people been overdosing. The problem is that it's been in urban communities. Back when you ever hear of a Len Bias?
No.
Len Bias was a guy who played college basketball. And he was one of the top prospects to get drafted into the NBA. So he got drafted into the NBA, and he's in his dorm room. He's like one of the top drafts. All of this hype is behind him. He's in the dorm room with a lot of the guys that he played ball with.
Right.
So these guys are in the room sniffing coke. Len Bias,
He got caught.
no. All I'm sniffing coke. Lim Bias was the one who sniffed coke, but he wasn't a coke kid like the other guys, so his body couldn't handle it. So he ended up overdosing right then and there on the floor. Died. And one of his boys called it in and was like, I got somebody here. He's he took some drugs, he's dying. No, he was like, come send help, something like that. And I remember like watching the documentary on Lim Bias, but the point is that once Lim Bias died, he was such a major figure based on the hype behind him being drafted into the NBA that they ended up like having in like sort of an awakening on the drug epidemic. And after Lim Bias died, they changed law on incarceration because at that point after he died, you got more time for having crack instead of cocaine. You got more time for certain drugs that certain ethnicities, well, certain races were known to use more than others. And this was around the time of Lim Bias passing away. In the documentary, it talked about how the government changed laws in order to crack down on drug users, but black drug users, and how they threw them in cages instead of helping them. And I mean, like people are if anyone is watching and you want to chime in, the number is
443-602-8997.
So if you have any input, if you want to talk about what we're talking about, if if I was wrong or if anyone, if we were wrong, call in and correct us and let us know. But when you call, give us a site. Don't just tell us what you think. Like according to such and such. Like come on, let us know.
You know
But
somebody named Joe Trent?
what's up, Joe? Shout out to my man Joe Treese.
Trees. Okay.
Joe, your single was fire. I heard it when I came in. Keep going, brother. Keep going. I'm proud of you. I was like, oh, that's Joe. That's OG. That's what we call him at work. We was calling him OG.
Devon Lee. Devron Lee.
That's my cousin. What's up, Deron?
He's like, yeah, cuz.
Love you, cuzzo. That's my dude. That's my dude. Deron used to live with me. All we watched was House Party. That's all we watched. That was our movie. You ever had a cousin like y'all just watch, like y'all watch Harlem Nights or something else? Right. You watch Boomerang, the whole, y'all sitting there talking the whole time. Yeah. Love you, Deron. That's my dude right there. Yeah, but I mean, just going back to the subject. Yeah, so I think that in terms of the government and like even what you were saying about it being a conspiracy, like what are some things that you kind of would notice about food or other things that you're just like, it's got to be the government or it has to be something else?
I know we don't get as much help if we need help as the other community will.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, like I said, certain foods or certain snacks or chips or sodas is lower price in the city than the county.
Right.
I know that our water bill it is extremely high than the county. It's just a lot of things that's a lot different, and it shouldn't be that way because I mean, whether you're the city or the county, everything should be the same. It's like I don't agree with it. I just think it should be a little bit of the same. Like you got people that we can't even get into the school system. So if you say if all schools are filled up and you're trying to make sure that child is safe, so you call out not so far, but far enough where as though it's a distance away from the school, and you already called all the other schools around it, and they said, well, this is the county, so we can't cross the city line. So what's more important, making sure the child is safe or making sure that we don't enter your school because we don't want to cross the city, the county line?
Right.
I just think a lot of
Yeah.
stuff is just different and it's just out of order.
Education is education. I mean, in certain areas, they probably have more funding for it than others. Because, I mean, unfortunately, I still don't understand why the Baltimore City schools are not seeing casino money. I mean, who is seeing casino money? Like, where, what schools are
No, do we
seeing?
supposed to get a part of that?
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why people voted for casinos because one of the biggest things that they drove was, all right, we're going to give a portion of this money to schools. And no school has. How long ago has it been since we voted yes on casinos? And the students still haven't seen money from the casinos. And what's so crazy about it is it's not in Baltimore City. It's all over Maryland. Like no schools have seen money from the casinos. The casinos, like I think they did a story on it. I saw on Fox 45 where the casinos were like, "Oh, we're not making enough money." BS. That is a lie. You make millions and millions of
Millions.
dollars per day. You make billions you probably make billions a year. I got to look that up. But I know that's one of the biggest lies I've ever heard. And especially like when you go to the Horseshoe, you go to Live, oh, they making money.
Are they still closing 5 schools down?
Yeah, probably. They close schools and build jails. Figure that one out. How do you close in like 10 years they close how many schools? And then
Closed
they
like 3 schools down already?
yeah, well, probably more than 3 in the past 10 years.
Well, in 10 years, I think they closed. It's been 5, at least
Right,
5.
at least 5. But they built the jail.
What
Like
sense
that
does
doesn't
that
make
make?
sense. But you know, I was listening to Dick Gregory. You familiar with Dick Gregory?
I'm a little familiar with Dick Gregory.
I went to go see Dick Gregory once. Big fan of his. Rest in peace. God rest his soul. Dick Gregory said the numbers they base they build jails
Hmm.
based on the number of third graders. That was so interesting to me. So in third grade, I helped them predict how many cells to build in the state.
That's nuts.
It is. It is. They're closing schools and they built the jail.
They just try to make sure they got enough space to put us to make sure we fail. They don't want us
Hmm.
to succeed.
Yeah. I mean,
That's all
it's
that is.
yeah. Why are the resources being taken from the schools? Did you hear about the Governor Hogan and they like ran up on Governor Hogan and was like, "Where's the money from the school for city schools?" And Governor Hogan was like, the money got sent to the city." And they like, "Well, what happened to it?" He's like, "I don't know. Who's taking this money?"
Mm.
I'm pretty sure if that was Anne Arundel County and there was a misappropriation of funds, somebody would fall for that. At Harford County, Howard County, Columbia. I mean, well, that's the same thing, but like, why is it that in Baltimore City, the governor says these funds were paid to city schools and nobody knows where they went?
Because they never got it.
Hmm. I remember a while ago, the commissioner was stealing money from the city schools. Remember that?
Hmm.
And he got fired. And now he's like one of the top talk show hosts in Baltimore. Go figure.
It's
Mm,
not about what you know, it's who you know.
mm. You
And how
still
much money you got in your pocket.
right. You steal money from no. You steal money from one of the cities that need that education money the most.
So basically, we all contribute to his show. So y'all need
Mm-hmm.
to make sure y'all send him a comment.
Mm-hmm. This man, how's this man on the news so much? Like, I don't. And I know he was a great police officer, and I don't want to take that from him. And also, shout out to all of the good police officers in Baltimore and around the world. Actually, like we really need you guys. Don't don't quit doing what you're doing. I mean, you know, it's always a few bad apples in the batch, but at the same time, like I have nothing bad to say about good police officers. But I mean,
Well, I got something to say.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Not the ones that are good, but the ones that's
Yeah, the
not
ones that are
doing
not
nothing,
good.
that
Yeah.
don't help do nothing, the ones
Yeah.
that you ask for which side of the street or which way to turn or this and that, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And
Y'all can eat some apples. I'm not gonna say what I want to say. Y'all can eat some apples.
eat some apples.
But the ones that are good,
Don't
much
y'all
love to you.
Yeah.
But the ones that don't want to help do nothing, that
Mhm.
don't or help the other race and don't help the black people,
Hmm.
or come hunt people down and blow up my phone, yeah, you know I'm talking about you.
Uh-oh.
You can eat some apples.
Uh-oh.
You continue.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. So anyway, I, I I don't know who that is, but you can eat apples, sir. You can eat apples. But yeah, it's so interesting just to see him on the news and to see the fame and notoriety that he has after doing something like that. And then you, on the flip side, you look at Sheila Dixon. Like, like Sheila Dixon took gift cards.
Did she get locked up for that? No.
No, but they stripped a lot of stuff away from her.
Oh, whatever.
And yeah, she was,
She's
and
still
even
living.
after that, like she was so helpful around Baltimore when the riots broke out.
Uh-huh.
Sheila Dixon was like killing it in terms of like helping the inner city.
It's all good when they help, but at the same time, if we do something like that, that's like robbing a bank. She
Mm,
took all those gift cards,
mm,
but we go rob a bank. You know they coming for us.
mm-hmm.
They gonna come for us with everything they got.
Yeah.
Like when they catch you, you better hurry up and drop the gun. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think certain things, like I said, it's not fair.
Mm-hmm. And I actually had the opportunity during the riots as a soldier to meet the current mayor, Jack Young, and
Those are the ones that don't go for our community.
and he was saying like some interesting stuff just about the whole Sheila Dixon incident. And he was like, she could have got out of that, but she bowed out gracefully. And it was interesting just to hear something like that. But yet you have people who steal from children, and like get caught red-handed, and they get exalted. They get radio shows, they get notoriety, they're on the news all the time, and you're just like, how does this,
It's like the old saying, bad publicity is just as good as good publicity. So either way, they're getting looked at.
right.
Somebody named Lauren.
What's up?
Lauren, she said, those are the ones that don't come from our community. Are you talking about the police, Lauren?
I think so. So let's hear some other yeah, those are the ones that don't come from our communities. So yeah, I feel you on that, Lauren. I really do.
She said, yes, she's talking about the police.
Yeah.
I could, like I said, I could count on my hand 5 times.
Joe, I'm not gonna say your comment.
Right.
Joe Trees. Oh man, y'all support Joe, my man Joe Trees. Support this man. Much love, Joe. Salute to you.
Why is he not gonna say his comment? It's not even up here. He texted it to you.
Oh, you don't see it?
No, it's not up here. He must have
Oh.
texted directly to you.
Yeah, it may be on mine. But yeah. So this
This has been very informative.
it has.
Very informative. And a great experience. You didn't told me something about lead poison. I ain't even know nothing about that.
Yeah.
That's out there. So,
Yeah.
So you basically saying I gotta start wearing masks around the old dirty houses.
Yeah.
So
You'd be surprised. And there's so many kids that'll come out and play and just be exposed to the lead and the absorption. Because you gotta think, nobody's really eating off the ground, but we're touching the ground. How many kids are touching the ground and absorbing lead through their pores, through their skin? It's crazy. It's crazy. How many people are breathing that in?
Gonna work on that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get ready to close out. You read it.
All right. And I will read Tune in daily on Worldwide Flavor Network. Download the Live app, the Live 365 app for free on iTunes and Google Play, and search for WWFN Online Radio. Follow us on all social media, www.worldwideflavornetwork.com, on Facebook, www. Worldwide Flavor Network, on YouTube, Worldwide Flavor Network, on Instagram, WWFNO online. I'm sorry, WWFN online radio. I'm terrible at this. I'm such an old man sometimes. Like
So you so you can
what
read
that
it
say?
better.
What that say? The WWF. All right. Periscope four WWFN, and Mixcloud at 4WWFN as well.
And
And mhm.
if you're looking for someone, or are you looking to be on your own show, please get in contact with us. Our fabulous manager, Michelle, Michelle,
Whoop, whoop.
she will be able to take care of you and do a really good job at it.
Remember, raise the roof. I'm raising the roof for Michelle. Raise the roof for Michelle.
So we're gonna close out with Anika tells all my co-hosts.
Otis or the
Um,
co-hostess. Yeah, we got to figure that out. I'm gonna figure. I'm gonna play around with that a little bit.
we'll see you next Thursday at 10 o'clock. Thanks for having us. Thanks for your patience.
Look at my man Joe.
Yeah, because I hit him up.
So you helping him with his CD?